YouTube, oh my goodness. I said this in yesterday's video to begin the video, and I'll say it again. What a time to be an NBA fan. The news just keeps on pouring in. The breaking news, the trades, the rumors, the JJ Redick coach hiring. I mean, there's just so much stuff going on, and free agency hasn't even started yet, right? Yesterday, at the time of recording this video, Alex Caruso was traded from the Bulls to the Oklahoma City Thunder, and the Bulls, in return, received Josh Giddey. So, Josh Giddey, Alex Caruso traded for each other. What a crazy trade. I mean, this is a straight-up player swap. You rarely see that when it's players of this magnitude being traded for each other. You know, there's usually some picks and bob and some other assets, but a crazy trade nonetheless. And in this video, I want to talk about it and what I think for each team, you know, in regards to this trade, how they fit with their new teams. I want to get into all that in this video. So, you know, let's just dive right into it, folks. So much news, man. It's hard to keep up. So, you know, first I want to take some notes and, you know, kind of go over the individual players first and, you know, what kind of players they are, what kind of value they can provide. Alex Caruso, I think, is one of the best perimeter defenders in the entire NBA. You know, he can guard multiple positions from the wing all the way to the point guard. You know what I mean? Super versatile defensive guy, is an all NBA caliber guy every season, and truly one of the game's best perimeter defenders. He's also a pretty good three-point shooter. He's a hustle guy. He's an effort guy. He's a, you know, total dog, right? He's really like a point guard or a two guard. He can, you know, handle the ball pretty well. He can play make a little bit. And like I said, he's a pretty solid shooter from that three-point arc. You know, this is a guy that could fit into any team in this entire league. You know what I mean? I think Alex Caruso has the skill set to be able to translate to the Thunder immediately and provide such solid stability for that lineup on both ends of the floor, right? This is a guy you can trust on both ends. Like I said, primarily a defender, but can provide, you know, a little bit of offensive ability as well with the ball handling, the playmaking, and the shooting, right? So Caruso's not a guy you're going to lean on to score the ball. If he can give you 10 points a night, I think you're pretty happy with that, but you're mainly just hoping offensively that he can shoot a pretty good, you know, three-point percentage, you know, maybe around league average, about 4 attempts per game or so. Again, this is a total utility guy, definitely one of the best value role players in this entire league, no question about it. We'll talk about the fit in a little bit, and we'll talk about the trade grades, but I saw a tweet that somebody made. I can't remember who it was, but it was something like, you know, Alex Caruso and Lu Dort are going to put Western Conference backcourts in jail all season long next year, and that is totally true, man. What a defensive backcourt that's going to be. Something similar to what you see from the Celtics in 2024. So a great trade by the Thunder. Now let's talk about Josh Giddey. Now, you know, I should mention just first of all, we're not going to talk about it in this video at all, but Josh Giddey does have some off-court stuff going on. Again, not going to get into that. This is a basketball channel. Josh Giddey is, you know, in my opinion, one of the most underrated playmakers in the league. I think he's one of the best playmakers in the league. Still a really young guy. He's a guy that you can, you know, really rely on as a lead playmaker on a basketball team. You know, you know, he is that good at playmaking, passing, setting up, running an offense. You know what I mean? He's kind of just like a really big point guard, right? Again, similar to Alex Caruso, very different players, right? But similar to Alex Caruso, you're never really gonna, you know, want to rely on Josh Giddey to be a primary, secondary scorer, right? If he can give you 10 to 15 a night, I think you'd be pretty happy with that. Even though he is a young player, I'm sure he will even get better in his career. And that's just kind of the player he is, and I think is gonna be for his career. You're never gonna be a scorer that you rely on, you know, primarily in the offense, but his playmaking is elite in my opinion. It is super underrated. I'm not too sure about his defense, if I'm being honest with you guys. I'm not sure it's very great. You know, I think it might be a little bit, you know, average or maybe a slightly below average. I'm not sure if you guys know anything about if Josh Giddey, you know, what level his defense is at from that guard position. You can let me know down in the comments. I know he's got a big body and that could maybe help him with some versatility. You could stick him on a wing or something like that. But, you know, from what I understand, Giddey is going to be, you know, taking the corner guy defensively, right? And I know that, you know, his athleticism isn't super great. You know, again, he's got good size and really great size for a point guard position or primary ball handler playmaker position, right? But just his like explosiveness is pretty non-existent, I'd say. You know, he's a guy that is more fundamental and sound, I would say, than, you know, an athlete, right? But the Bulls, you know, clearly have stated that they're looking to replace, you know, Lonzo Ball. They need like a solid number one playmaker on this team, and I think that's what they were going for with this trade. It was pretty clear they didn't, you know, see Alex Caruso in their future plans. Try to get something back for him, and you get a guy in Josh Giddey who is still, again, very young, still could be growing as a player, still could be developing, get even better, right? This is a guy that you can rely on every single night to, like I said, run an offense efficiently and has the talent to be an elite playmaker in this league. So, you know, pretty good trade for both sides, I'd say. I mean, they both, I think, got what they were, you know, looking for. I will say, as far as value for the Bulls, I think maybe you could have got a little bit of better value out of this trade. You know, I think maybe a couple months ago, you know, the Bulls were talking about they wanted at the deadline, right? They wanted multiple first round picks, maybe like 3 first round picks for Alex Caruso. He is that great of a role player. Again, this is not a superstar player. This is not a star player, but this is a guy that can slide into into any contender right away and contribute big time to winning basketball. One of the highest value role players in the league, right? So obviously the asking price for Caruso, and he's on a pretty, friendly contract, if I do say. He's not getting paid a ton, right? And I think that could, again, really convince a winner to, send multiple draft picks over. So Giddy, while I think, the investment is in the potential and, the long-term plans of the Bulls, I think that's where maybe they were going. And I think that's pretty good value for Alex Caruso, right? You get a guy who could maybe blossom into, your playmaker and, point guard of the future, type thing. So the Bulls do certainly have a surplus of guards, and that hasn't changed with this trade, but you could technically play Josh Giddey, at the 3 if you really wanted to because of his size, but offensively, he's definitely got that, traditional point guard mold to him. This guy is a triple-double threat every time he's on the floor. So, again, pretty, as far as the grades, I think the Thunder get an A+, and I think the Bulls get, I'll give them a B. I'll give them a B or a B+. I think they maybe could have, if they made this trade a few months ago, could have squeezed a couple picks out of this along with Josh Giddey, but they waited too long, and now, they end up getting, again, a pretty solid return, but maybe, not as much as you would think for a guy like Alex Caruso. So yeah, A+ for the Thunder, B for the Bulls. Let's talk about Alex Caruso's fit with the Thunder. So as I mentioned before, I see a little bit of a parallel here between the defensive, dynamic guard rotation for the Thunder as you do in a Boston Celtics in their 2024 finals run, right? Think about the guards defensively for the Oklahoma City Thunder. You have Lu Dort, Alex Caruso, both all NBA caliber defenders. I think Caruso's obviously the better of the two, but these are two guards that are defensive oriented guards that can also provide a little bit on the other end as well. So you could even play them at the same time, like, Boston does with Drew Holiday and Derek White, and just put those opposing Western Conference guards in jail, right? This is your Kyrie Irving, Luka Doncic solution, right? This is your Anthony Edwards, Mike Conley solution. This is your Jamal Murray solution. So Steph Curry, right? So, there's so many great guards in the Western Conference, but again, I go back to think of this rotation, right? So now you're going to have at the guard position, right? You have Lu Dort, who you could even, slide Caruso or him to the 3 position if you want to go really small, right? Both those guys are undersized 3s, but they technically could play that, right? If you want to go Shea, Dort, and Caruso 1, 2, and 3, right? And that is an insane defensive trio. I mean, those guards are in jail, right? So the defensive, it's going to be a dynamic defense, just right off the bat. You already have Chet Holmgren, you have J-Dub, right? So, the front court is pretty solidified. You could use a backup 5, that kind of an enforcer, rebounder type to kind of balance Chet Holmgren's, play style. That's where I think the Thunder could improve, is the front court, but we're not here to talk about that today. Just think about the starting lineup of SGA, Lu Dort, Alex Caruso, J-Dub, and Chet Holmgren. That is maybe the best defensive starting 5 in the league other than Boston. Just absolutely nuts, right? Primarily in that backcourt. And then you have a generational defensive talent in Chet Holmgren. So Caruso slides right in. Again, this is a guy that can play make as well. He can, handle the ball as kind of a secondary ball handler when, Shea, could play off ball or so on those resting possessions, right? And this is a guy that can set up an offense at times, drive and kick. He'll always be ready to shoot the, 3 off the catch. But I think, defensively, this is where the move makes the headlines, right? This isn't, you're not getting Alex Caruso for his offense. His offense is just a bonus to what he already brings. Amazing A+ move. He'll fit in so seamlessly to this team. Even if you want to bring him off the bench, lead that second unit, good luck second unit for the other team in terms of their backcourt, right? They're not getting anything out of that. So I just love this move. I wish my 76ers would have traded for Alex Caruso instead of the Thunder, because we really could have used his services and what he brings to a team. Again, another guy that's just he will leave it all on the floor, man. This guy is a competitor. He wants to win more than anything. You saw him in that 2020 finals run with the Lakers, win that championship. He's so pivotal to that team in particular. This is a winning player, one of the more winning, value role players, again, that I've seen in this league in a long time. You think of like Draymond Green, right? That type of guy. He's just going to hold things together. He's going to make really good plays defensively, and he's going to allow your stars to operate a little bit better. Brings grit, edge, and toughness, right? So the fit for the Thunder with Alex Caruso, another A+, right? They get A+ from the trade grade in terms of value that they're, giving away and getting back. They get an A+, and the fit is so seamless for the Thunder. It's an A+ as well. Chicago Bulls, again, I think this is a good trade for the Chicago Bulls, right? If you're truly not going to extend Caruso and you're looking to maybe kind of enter like kind of a bridge rebuild type situation, you've heard talks about, trading Zach LaVine in recent days, and also, DeMar DeRozan is an unrestricted free agent. So there's a lot, on the line for the Bulls this offseason. They're clearly being active on the trade market and stuff like that. But I think even with the emergence of guards like Kobe White, Ayo Dosunmu, you can always use a lead playmaker. This is a guy that can, again, Josh Giddey, elite level playmaker potential, and I think he's already close to that level in this league already. So now, you know, even if you play Josh Giddey at the 3 or the 2 or the 1, whatever you decide to do with him, I mean, you could have Aya DeSumo be the 6th man, come off the bench. You could have Kobe White and Josh Giddey as your backcourt, right? You could even have him at the 3. You could have, you know, depending on what happens with Patrick Williams or, you know, some of these other guys, like, you know, this is a good trade for the Bulls. I think it is more in the line of future thinking, which I think the Bulls have needed to do for a while now. If you guys have been following the channel, you know, I made a video on how the Bulls need to blow it up and rebuild. I think this is a good, you know, early stages, something like that happening. And you look to the future with a really young, promising talent in Josh Giddey, and really you're giving up an asset that, you know, probably isn't going to affect your, you know, level of contention next season, clearly. So if you're not going to extend him, doesn't fit the timeline of the team, great trade for the Bulls. Again, I'd give it a B or a B plus in terms of value. In terms of fit, I think it's really good, right? The Bulls have, you know, really lacked a primary playmaker on that team for quite some time. While DeMar DeRozan, Zach LaVine, you know, Kobe White, these guys are pretty good playmakers. They're nothing special though, right? These are score first mentality guys. And, you know, when you make them have the ball in their hands to set up their teammates more than they probably should be, you know, you take away from their scoring, right? I think having a guy like Josh Giddey just on the floor to be able to facilitate an offense, he moves well off ball. He really is a smart, high IQ basketball player at such a young age. Like I said, this is a just good move. Josh Giddey, I think, is kind of a ball dominant guard offensively. I think, you know, if he doesn't have the ball a lot offensively, most possessions, I think his value is pretty limited as, you know, far as a off ball catch and shoot gravity guy. Like, I don't think he's the best 3-point shooter. I don't think he's bad either. I'm just saying this is a guy you want to have the ball in his hands, as far as like maximizing his ability. And I think that's totally fine for the Bulls if they're going to go with more of a, you know, rebuild approach, right? You kind of see what you have in Giddy, and maybe you can find some new way to, you know, exercise his talents. Because listen, the Thunder, he kind of fell out of that rotation a little bit, right? And you know, on a super, you know, championship ready contender like the Thunder, your role is going to be limited if you're a Josh Giddey type player. And, you know, so maybe they get something out of Josh Giddey we haven't even seen yet. So that's, you know, exciting for Bulls fans. I think the Bulls get a good trade here. I think it's a good fit. I give the Bulls a B plus in both regards as well. I think the Thunder are the winner of the trades. And, you know, again, they're probably going to have to extend Caruso. I believe he's on either the final year or, you know, 2025 will be his extension period. So we'll have to see how that goes. You know, again, he's on a pretty team friendly contract here. And so the Thunder have some cap space. They can definitely afford to take him on. And obviously they would want to. Who wouldn't, right? But I think, you know, if we look back on this trade in 5 years, maybe if, you know, Caruso walks in free agency in a couple years for the Thunder, then we say, whoa, man, Josh Giddey turned out to be a mainstay in Chicago. I think they won that trade, right? Assuming like OKC doesn't win a championship while, you know, Caruso's there. So again, I think this is an A plus for the Thunder on, you know, both fronts. And I think a pretty solid B plus for the Bulls as well. I think it's a pretty fair trade given both team situations. And let me know down in the comment section what you think of this trade. I'm just excited for OKC, right? And I'm excited for the Bulls fans as well to see, you know, that type of playmaker that they've really lacked for a long time in Chicago. So this is an exciting day, man. This is an exciting period in the NBA. I'm going to be covering news stories and, you know, breaking stuff just like this every single day on the channel. Believe me, I'm already working on more videos. There is tons to cover in this offseason. It just started. It literally just started a couple days ago. It's crazy. Make sure you guys subscribe to the channel if you guys don't want to miss any more news like this. We're going to be covering draft, trades, free agency. The draft's in like a week. So, you know, again, NBA draft coming up, right? Free agency starts on the 30th, I believe. So I'm going to be covering stuff like this every day. We upload every day on this channel. All things NBA every day. This is my favorite thing to do, man. I love basketball so much. I love the NBA. I want to share it with you guys, right? So make sure you guys drop a like if you did enjoy the video. It really helps out the video, helps new people find the video. And we're trying to grow this channel as much as we can. So it would really mean a lot to me. I will catch you guys in the next one. This is your boy D Haven as always. Peace.